When I was in the 3rd year of high school, the school announced that there would be a camping event on campus. At that time, a few of us good friends discussed spending the night at one of our friends' houses before the camping, so we could go to school together the next morning.
Actually, it was because we were going camping and didn't have to attend classes, so everyone was in a wild mood. But we didn't expect that what happened that night would become the beginning of all the strange events that followed. Near our friend Ma Ming's house, there was an internet cafe, which was a place we often went to after school. The facilities there were a bit old.
That day we played there until around 9 o'clock, when all the computers in the shop suddenly shut down. At first, we thought it was a power outage, but a few seconds later, everything returned to normal, only to shut down again shortly after. At this moment, the internet cafe manager suddenly said, "Alright, stop messing around." We thought he was talking to us, and were about to pack up and leave, but he explained, "I'm not talking about you guys, I'm talking about my colleague in the shop." We laughed, thinking he was joking, but I instinctively looked around. Including us 6, there were 2 other customers we didn't know, plus the manager, making a total of 9 people. Moreover, we were very familiar with this internet cafe manager. His home was on the other side of the village, and he usually managed the shop alone, and closed up by himself. I really couldn't figure out who he meant by companion, but my friends were all focused on playing games and didn't pay attention to it, so I didn't think much more about it. We stayed until midnight, and when the internet cafe manager closed the shop, we went back to Ma Ming's house together. I was still pondering about the companion the manager mentioned, but when I thought about preparing breakfast for the next day's camping, I put it out of my mind. We were busy until around 3:30 to 4 in the morning before we finished making breakfast. The school camping trip was scheduled to meet at 10 o'clock, so we quickly went to sleep. While we were sleeping soundly, the faucet in Ma Ming's bathroom suddenly turned on by itself, waking us all up. At that time, there were clearly only a few of us at Ma Ming's house. His parents were out of town, and his siblings had gone to relatives' homes, so there was no one who would turn on the bathroom faucet. We took turns checking the bathroom, and it was empty. Everyone panicked and quickly ran back to the room, but the door didn't have a lock, so we could only turn on all the lights in the house to barely fall asleep. The first to wake up the next day was Xiaodong. He said he didn't sleep well the previous night, so around 7 in the morning, he woke us all up. But we noticed that Xiaodong was gloomy all morning and spoke softly. We laughed at him for being timid, not knowing that he had experienced something even scarier alone in the morning. Around 9:30, we arrived at school, and classmates gradually gathered. The camping activity officially started at 10, and we shared the breakfast we had prepared in the early morning with everyone. The school organized activities lasted from 10 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon, followed by free time, when everyone could cook outdoors and prepare dinner for 8 in the evening. Halfway through the activities, some classmates mentioned that there weren't enough ingredients, so Aki, Xiaodong, and I volunteered to go to the village's small supermarket to buy more. On the way, Xiaodong finally talked about his morning experience. He woke up at 6:30 in the morning, tried to sleep again but couldn't, so he went to the kitchen to make coffee and saw a long-haired girl who looked exactly like Ma Ming's sister. He tried to talk to the girl about the faucet incident from the previous night, but the girl didn't speak at all. He thought Ma Ming's sister had returned and joked with her, but in the blink of an eye, the girl disappeared. It wasn't until later that he forcefully woke us up, still feeling uneasy. After listening, both Aki and I got goosebumps. What was even scarier was that as we were walking, we heard footsteps behind us, and those footsteps were not in sync with ours, clearly indicating someone was following us. We tried to keep walking, then suddenly stopped together, and the footsteps behind us also stopped, but there was no one around. Fear surged in our hearts, and we couldn't bother with buying ingredients anymore, so we ran back to the school. Our classmates and teachers were puzzled to see us return empty-handed. I made up an excuse to brush it off, and the teacher sent other students to do the shopping. We told the other friends about this. However, Xiaojun refused to believe it and even laughed at us for making it up. He has always been rational. When the faucet at Ma Ming's house turned on by itself before, he just thought it was loose. After everyone finished dinner in the evening, the school arranged a nighttime sharing session and invited a guest speaker. We were tired and sleepy, so we didn't attend and sneaked off to the bathroom to shower. Xiaojun, Archie and I went first, while the other friends, scared by what happened during the day, waited outside. Halfway through, we suddenly heard Xiaodong, Xiaojian, and Ma Ming screaming outside, mixed with the sound of banging on the door. They were shouting to open the door, and Xiaojun quickly went to open it. I poked my head out of the stall and saw the 3 of them sweating profusely, their faces pale. Even though Xiaojun was only wrapped in a towel, he rushed out to ask what was wrong. Achi quickly pulled him back, saying they saw Ma Ming's sister in the hallway. We asked Ma Ming how his sister could be at school, and Ma Ming looked confused too. Xiaojun got impatient, thinking we were trying to scare him on purpose, and pulled Xiaojian to go out, saying they were going to check the hallway. I quickly sped up to finish my shower, and after Xiaodong and the others finished as well, we went back to the campsite together to set up the tent. On the way, I couldn't help but ask them what exactly they saw. Aki said, "While we were waiting outside the bathroom, we wanted to get some fresh air in the hallway. We heard some noise from a classroom, looked through the window, and saw a girl who looked like Ma Ming's sister. The sharing session hadn't ended yet, so we were afraid of getting scolded by the teacher and quickly ran back to the bathroom to find you. When we returned to the campsite, we saw Xiaojun and Xiaojian being scolded by the teacher. They were caught by the teacher when they returned to the campsite." Xiaojun looked angry, clearly taking it out on Xiaodong and the others. Fortunately, later they had a good talk in the tent and Xiaojun relaxed, asking us not to bring up those scary things again, and everyone reconciled. The 8 of us squeezed into one tent, initially wanting to chat, when a one from the neighboring tent suddenly asked, "Did any of you bring a girlfriend to school?" Just now I saw a girl coming back to the campsite with you. We followed his.
It suddenly became quiet. Ah Wen was definitely talking about that girl. I couldn't help joking. That must be a ghost. I regretted it as soon as I said it. The people in the next tent laughed, but the atmosphere in our tent became tense. Xiaojun sighed and said, "Let's just sleep." Everyone then shut their mouths, and because we hadn't slept well the night before, and had eaten too much, we quickly fell asleep. I don't know how long it had been, but I woke up from the cold. All the school lights were off, and the campfire in the middle had gone out. It was pitch black all around. I vaguely saw a shadow inside the tent, and I was so scared that I quickly closed my eyes and prayed. At this moment, Awan and the others in the neighboring tent were still talking about the girl who came back to the camp with us. I couldn't hold it in any longer, so I crawled out of the tent and told them about our experience during the day. After listening, Awan said that the internet cafe manager had mentioned to him before that there was always a female companion when he was watching the store, and that the girl would occasionally help him watch the store. The more I listened, the more scared I became, connecting these things with the strange happenings at the internet cafe, the faucet at Maming's house, and the girl in the hallway. At that moment, Xiaojun suddenly walked in and asked if what Awan said was true, and if the internet cafe manager had any evidence. Awan said the manager had sent him a video showing the computers in the shop turning on and off by themselves, and even though the lights were on, a blurry shadow could be seen. After hearing this, Xiaojun was silent for a long time, and said she wanted to apologize to Xiaodong because she shouldn't have doubted everyone before. I said that Xiaodong would understand. After all, Xiaodong was also quite scared. We talked until late at night, then Xiaojun and I returned to the tent. Everyone turned on their phones and flashlights for light, not daring to stay in the dark. The next day, the camping activities continued. We had a lot of fun during the day, and almost forgot the fear from the previous day. We even chatted with younger and older classmates and teachers. During the evening free time, Awan suggested playing the spirit board game with the senior students. We didn't want to go at first, but they mocked us for being cowardly, so we went along. We agreed to just watch and not participate. We went to a senior classroom on the 4th floor of the teaching building, where no one would notice us. They drew grids on a piece of paper, placed a coin in a cup, and played for almost an hour, but nothing happened. However, because we had been away from the campsite for too long, the teacher started looking for us, and eventually found us on the 4th floor. They thought we were secretly smoking or something, so they searched our bags to confirm we didn't have any cigarettes. The senior students explained that we just wanted to take a nap in the classroom, so the teacher let us return to the campsite. In the rush, we forgot to take the cup, coin and paper used for the game. The next day, while packing up to go home, the principal suddenly called us to the office. The senior students were there too, and we thought the incident from last night had been exposed, so we quickly agreed to say we were just resting in the classroom. The principal scolded us and finally told us to clean up the classroom we used last night. We were puzzled because when we left last night, the classroom was clearly tidy. What was there to clean up? But the moment we opened the door, we were all stunned. The chairs in the classroom were all in disarray, the cup was shattered on the floor, the coin was missing, and the paper was torn to pieces and soaking wet. We quickly explained to the teacher that it wasn't like this when we left. A teacher stepped forward and said he saw the classroom was tidy when we left last night, and before the school locked the building, they checked that there was no one on the 4th floor. No teachers or students stayed there. But since we were the last ones to leave the classroom, the responsibility was still placed on us. After the camping ended, the school returned to normal, and we never encountered anything strange again.
However, when we later went to the internet cafe to play, we didn't dare stay until the evening. The internet cafe manager later asked us, "Was there something following you before?" We were too scared to speak and didn't dare ask him why he asked that. As for the video in Awan's phone, because too much time had passed, his phone and memory card were lost, and we never got to see it again. Later, that internet cafe was turned into a fruit barbecue stall, so we never went there again.
Video like and subscribe.